the Express at the Alibi Room for Hoppapolooza. Now, this event is part of Vancouver Craft Beer Week, and yes, you need to be 19 or older to participate. But for our next story, you actually have to be in high school. Any idea what would draw 25,000 of the brightest minds from BC and Washington to learn physics? Kind of sounds like a dangerous combo. Stomach-dropping heights and mini donuts.
Point C shown in figure 1. Point C is in the middle of the bent curve.
This may seem like an ordinary class assignment for grade 12 physics students Hilalian Ann and Jeff Sun.
16 squared divided by 2.
But today, the assignment is far from ordinary. These two students from Coquitlam's Charles Best Secondary were handpicked to participate in the annual BC's Brightest Minds competition, a one-day contest part of Science and Physics Days at Playland at the PNE. Each two-person team is given a series of challenging physics problems to solve, all about the various rides at the park.
The Science and Physics Days actually started back 22 years ago here at Playland, and this was the first place in the world where we started this concept of learning through doing the science of physics and mathematics. About 6 years ago, we really wanted to put forward a challenge to the best and the brightest students who really were looking for an additional challenge, and so the concept of BC's Brightest Minds was born. And what's happened has been a phenomenal experience for the kids who've participated, I think, and certainly for us as an organization.
I wanted to be part of the competition because I've always been really interested in physics. Like, I've been fascinated by how the roller coasters work and all the physics involved in it. So I thought this would be a really good way to actually learn more about it.
The BC Brightest Minds competition awards $3,000 of prize money to the top 3 winning teams, not to mention official recognition of being the best of the best. Hilalian and Jeff are both at the top of their physics class, but even for these two, the competition doesn't come without challenges.
I think the problems itself was a challenge to me. The question is really hard and it requires a lot of thinking and time.
Here's an example of one of the problems.
We have to hold this water bottle to the ground, and we gotta observe which way the water's facing and how it's angled, and we just gotta do some calculations with that information.
So holding a water bottle while on a ride.
Yeah, I might get soaked, but it's for science, so you gotta do it.
For science!
Yeah, for science.
And for science, the hard work is definitely worth it.
The incredible young students we're producing here in British Columbia is outstanding, and a lot of these kids have great dreams of being, the rocket scientists and mathematicians that we can all be really, really proud of here in British Columbia.
Ready to do this? Yeah!
Hilalian and Jeff don't know exactly where their future will lead, but participating today is a great first step.
I'd prove to myself that I actually knew this stuff, all the physics.
At the end of the day, me and my partner Hilalian want to have fun and win the competition.
I'm Mansour in Vancouver for The Express.
Playland at the PNE's annual Science and Physics Day celebrates its 25th anniversary next year. You can register your school online. Now, a love of learning and a chance to play. It's what all kids deserve. Richmond's 9-year-old Ashyln is as active as most kids, but her journey to get there was not easy. We have her story and why she and her family credit BC Children's Hospital for saving her life.
Ashyln Kumar is like most kids her age. She's active, outgoing, and full of energy. But Ashlyn's road to a normal childhood was not easy. She was born with Marconium aspiration. Today, she's at BC Children's getting an annual checkup.
Has he been well this winter? Good. And Ashyln, when she was born, had something called meconium aspiration, so at the time of delivery she would have swallowed some of the meconium, which is the first stool that babies pass, and sometimes babies will inhale it during the delivery process.
So let's start with measuring your head. Okay.
And you've done this before.
She went into lung failure, and then she was rushed off to Children's Hospital, where they tried to help her out, which they did an amazing job. They gave her a 50-50% chance, and she came out on top. She was in children's for a whole month, and she graduated from each nursery before we could take her home.
In order to help her recover, some of the babies are put on ECMO, and so she would have been put on the ECMO machine.
The doctors and nurses are amazing. They always make sure you're comfortable and help you out whichever way they can. Ashyln had a 24-hour nurse by her side in the NICU, and they were just an amazing group of people.
She's got a clean bill of health today, but she visits BC Children's at least once a year.
It's nice to come and visit with all the people who help take care of her. This hospital means so much to us that it's very emotional for us, because without them, she wouldn't be here today.
This 9-year-old is grateful for their tender care and attention.
Thank you for helping.
And rather than focusing on a very scary and life-changing experience, she's more concerned about getting her black belt. In Richmond, I'm Melanie Pineda for The Express.
To support more kids like Ashyln, join us for a World of Smiles telethon benefiting BC Children's Hospital. It's happening on May 29th from 5 to 11 p.m. It will be live on Shaw Multicultural Channel, Digital 116, and simulcast on Shaw TV stations throughout BC. You're watching The Express, and we have two things that you shouldn't mix, but we can, coming up. After the break, news from Vancouver Craft Beer Week. Early bicycles at the Burnaby Village Museum.
You can see the lovely swoop of the frame that makes room for, probably she had a big skirt at the time.
The Express, this is your local voice.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by
hairstyling and color services for Shaw TV, provided by the Lounge Hair Studio, loungehairstudio.com.
We are kids. Wish kids.
10,000 kids.
We are brave.
We are strong.
We are fighters.
Some days are good, some days are bad.
Some of us make it.
Some of us don't.
My wish will make me strong.
The Children's Wish Foundation of Canada.
Does a wish make a difference?
You bet.
You bet.
Imagine the difference a wish can make.
Only 2 more needles till my wish.
Please give today.
Welcome back to The Express at the Alibi Room for Hoppapolooza. It's part of Vancouver Craft Beer Week. You know, with all the local hoppy beer flowing here, it's a good thing we have a designated driver for our next feature. We're learning all about early bicycles at the Burnaby Village Museum.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Chevinsky. I'm the conservator at the Burnaby Village Museum. The museum has a lot of artifacts that deal with transportation. I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about our CCM motorized bicycle. In 1910, they were making motorized bicycles, and this is just a delightful way of moving around. So it still has the pedals. You can pedal like you would ordinarily, but if the hill is too steep or you want to go faster, you can switch over to the motor. It was in pretty terrible condition. It had had a lot of wear, it had been stored outside for some time, and just was looking pretty beat up. So you see it now with all of those chrome surfaces restored. They've actually been restored by applying sheets of very fine chrome. Not every bike was motorized, and people certainly had to push to get where they were going. We have a very early ladies' bicycle, and you can see the lovely swoop of the frame that makes room for, probably she had a big skirt at the time. And there's quite a little rigging going on here. It looks like it's just string to protect her clothing from getting into the bike tires and getting caught up in the spokes and in the chain. You can imagine that would have been a big problem at the time with the long dresses as they were. Guys did a lot of deliveries on bikes. For deliveries for a general store like we have next door, they would have had a basket that fits into the framework at the front, and they would have been able to bring groceries to your house or newspapers, all manner of stuff that would fit at the front of a bike. They could, without any pollution or cost of gas, bring it all around Burnaby.
to the museum is a Burnaby Village Farmers Market that happens on Saturdays from 9 to 2. They also have special events planned for Victoria Day. You're watching The Express, and we've got your spotlight on more local events. Circus West presents a magical and mystical circus. The show chronicles the journey of Lord Stanley and guests as they travel from major park landmarks and interact with supernatural forces along the way. Bobby Singh of the CFL will be holding his 3rd annual non-contact youth football camp for kids ages 7 to 15. The camp will be held by a member of the San Francisco 49ers. Royal LePage is hosting the National Garage Sale for Shelter, with 100% of the proceeds going to help women and children who've experienced family violence. Also, Vancouver Craft Beer Week is on now through May 14th. Over 55 breweries represented at 70 different venues, including Central Bistro in My Hood, the West End. They have a couple beer dinners coming up, and on this Friday, May 13th, yes, Friday the 13th, they're launching their Hip Hops Grapefruit IPA. Now that's it for today's Express. We're going to leave you with the local theater scene, and we'll see you next time.